Hello everyone, this is Mei Xin, and you're watching Channel EMI, brought to you by the Center for Academic Literacy here at NTNU. Over the course of this program, 2 news anchors will show you how to handle common challenges in EMI classrooms. And we begin right now with this breaking news alert. We have reports coming in from the top universities and high schools stating that many of their EMI teachers have completely stopped talking just as class was about to begin. Our chief researcher is telling us that recent studies show that 9 out of 10 EMI teachers spend exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds practicing good morning before entering their classrooms. Stay with us as we go to NTNU correspondent Anthony, who is in an EMI classroom as we speak. Anthony, what are you seeing?
Thank you, Mei Xin. This is Anthony reporting from Classroom Poo 101 at NTNU. With me, I have freshly minted EMI teacher, Professor Rubin, who is going to start teaching EMI classes next semester. Hi, Professor Rubin. Thank you for joining us today. Can you please tell us about some issues you've encountered when thinking about how to start your lesson?
Hi, Anthony. I'm so happy to have been given the chance to teach EMI courses. I made all these beautiful teaching materials that I know that the students will find useful. But I have a problem. I don't know how to start the class. Look, this is what happened during my training program.
Good morning, class.
Morning.
Is this thing working? Let me check. Let me triple check, actually. Let me try again.
Good morning, class. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna start class now.
That sounded rough. Professor Rubin, I see your PhD program did not prepare you to be a teacher. I'm not surprised, but it's no problem at all. We at the Center for Academic Literacy here at NTNU are here for you. Let's go back to Mei Xin in the studio for some pointers on how to effectively begin a class.
Thank you, Anthony, for being our eyes on the ground. And thank you, Professor Rubin, for highlighting an issue faced by many EMI teachers. Indeed, starting a class well establishes your authority as a teacher and engages your students. Additionally, we know that students fall under the sleeping beauty spell during morning class, or if students just had lunch. Even evening classes will have sleepy students as they are already drained from a whole day of activity. Let's discuss the 4 strategies that you can use to start your class to keep those students awake. For each strategy, we'll also be sharing some useful expressions that you can use. We will also go through some similar sounding phrasal verbs to help you tell them apart easily. Let's begin. Strategy 1. Cut to the chase. Cut to the chase means don't waste time and get directly to your topic. Students appreciate it when you get into the lesson quickly. Here are some sentences you can use to cut to the chase. Today, we're going to talk about the main topic. Today, we are going to look at the main topic. Let's get started on today's topic, which is the main topic. In today's lecture, we are going to go through the main topic. As you can see on my slide, today's topic is the main topic. Use these sentences in your EMI classrooms to cut to the chase. Strategy 2. Ask a rhetorical question. You can start a class by asking an engaging rhetorical question. Rhetorical questions are questions that are asked for effect or to make a point. They do not need an answer. Some commonly used rhetorical questions to start classes are: shall we start? Shall we get started on today's discussion, which is on the main topic? Are we ready to begin? Notice that we say, shall we start, instead of can we start. Shall we is used to propose or suggest an action. It is an invitation to do something together and is more formal and polite. Can we, on the other hand, is used to ask for permission or check if something is possible. Here are some more advanced rhetorical questions about a specific topic. Have you ever wondered why coriander is such a divisive herb? What if Taiwan switches to using the lunar calendar overnight? These rhetorical questions are great to hook your audience. Strategy 3. Lead with an interesting fact. Another way to start a class in an engaging manner is to lead with an interesting fact. For example, did you know that Taiwanese drivers used to drive on the left side of the road under Japanese rule? A recent study showed that a key to a long life is regular, restful sleep. Interesting facts are a great way to grab your students' attention. Strategy 4. Provide an agenda. Providing an agenda means that you can give the students an overview of what is going to happen in today's session so that they can be mentally prepared for each topic. Here are some useful examples. I will begin with, then go on to, before wrapping up with. I'll start with, then go into, before going over. First, I'm going to talk about, then I will go into. Last but not least, we will go through. I will be dividing today's lecture into 3 parts, namely, I'm going to divide today's lecture into 3 parts, which are, respectively, here's an example. I will begin with an introduction to what machine learning is, then go on to discuss the different types of machine learning, before wrapping up with real-world applications of machine learning. See, it's not so bad. Just a quick note here. When we were going through the examples, did you notice that there are a few very similar phrasal verbs such as go into, go through, and go over? Have you wondered what's the difference between them? Differentiating similar phrasal verbs. Difference between go into, go through, and go over. Well, go into implies discussing or explaining something in depth. For example, you can say, in today's lecture, we'll go into the details of how neural networks are trained in machine learning, which means that you, as the lecturer, are going to explain the details of how neural networks are trained in machine learning. Next, go through suggests reviewing something thoroughly. For example, you can say, we will be going through your homework as a class, which means that you will be discussing the students' homework and providing feedback to the whole class in detail. Lastly, go over is used when reviewing something more briefly. For example, you can say, I will go over the homework assignments at the beginning of the next class, which means that you will just be taking a bit of time to discuss the homework assignments and not providing detailed feedback. To sum up, here are the 4 strategies we've just discussed. Strategy 1. Cut to the chase. Strategy 2. Ask a rhetorical question. Strategy 3. Lead with an interesting fact or thought-provoking question. Strategy 4. Provide an agenda. Let's put them all together to see the difference a few simple strategies can make.
Good morning, class.
Okay, good morning, class. Let's get started on today's lecture on sensory adaptations in the animal kingdom.
Is this thing working? Let me check.
Are we ready to begin?
Let me try again. Good morning, class.
Did you know that butterflies taste with their feet?
Okay, everyone, I'm gonna start now.
To explain this bizarre phenomenon, I'm going to first explain what sensory adaptations refer to. Then, I will go into the role of sensory systems in animal survival. Last but not least, we will go through some interesting case studies of sensory adaptations in the animal kingdom.
In addition to strategies, we also shared some language pointers. Specifically, we discussed 3 similar sounding phrasal verbs, namely go into, go through, and go over. As a quick recap, go into implies discussing or explaining something in depth. Go through suggests reviewing something thoroughly, whereas go over is used when reviewing something more briefly. I hope you found this brief sharing useful. What do you think, Anthony and Ruben?
Wow! Thanks for sharing these useful expressions with me. I just went from not knowing how to start a class at all to being spoiled for choice. I will practice these phrases and sentences at home so I can start my EMI classes with a bang!
Yeah!
I'm glad to hear that. Anthony, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I'd like to add that we've designed useful exercises for you, our EMI teachers, to practice these phrases and sentences on your own time. Scan the QR code below to access this lesson's speaking exercises on Sensay, an AI-powered platform that makes English speaking practice easy and fun.
Thank you, Anthony. Remember, a good class opening is like a good breakfast. Skip it, and you might end up thinking about that cup of Yonghe Doujiang the whole day. We hope you have fun practicing and see you in the next video.